everybody, and welcome to Friday. You made it to the end of the week, and here we are looking at futures, and futures are rolling southward, mainly on the very uber enthusiastic Dow Jones yesterday. A little bit, tiny little bit, on the weak as hell NASDAQ from yesterday, and we're not really seeing anything take place over there on the Russell 2000 at the moment. You've got the S&P futures down 26 points, almost 0.5%. The NASDAQ futures down 122 points, down 0.6%. The Dow Jones down 143, down 1/3%. And again, the Russell 2000 is down 3 points. 3 points. Down 0.14%. So that's what we're looking at. Anyway, just a update here. You know, it was a month ago Tuesday when I got hit with the catastrophic floods. Completely off the grid for better part of a week. Took an even greater better part of almost 2 weeks for things to start becoming restored, meaning you could get water, you could buy groceries, you could drive to locations, the roads had been cleared off, gasoline was available again. So, you know, that was just a month ago, and it took about 2 weeks to recover from that. And then it was a week ago today when I just had to cut it all off because Super Typhoon Pepito fucking decided that, hey, man, you know, we're going to come over there and give you a fucking visit. So last weekend, I was completely out of it. I've made a commitment because next week is Thanksgiving, and I will be on a very truncated week next week. I'll update you on the weekend. But we are going back to Angeles City, where we are lived for better part of 7 years, have got some really strong roots there, and we will be going back there for the Thanksgiving weekend, the week, helping the homeless, and our target this year is to be able to feed 25,000 people. Bum, Tarlac, San Fernando, Porac, Mabalaca, Pampanga, Angeles. 25,000 street people. Mainly street children is who we look for to make sure that all of because as you know, the memberships are 100% donated towards this. Every year at Thanksgiving, during Christmas as well, we have a major drive. I am going to be boots on the ground there once again this year, as I have been every year. So I will not be here next week. Because of that, I have made a commitment that I will be doing one-on-one calls this weekend, and although I am looking as if I'm fully booked from 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. Eastern Time, I have a curfew on the weekends. My wife does not want me sitting there working until the sun rises at 5 o'clock in the morning. So 5 a.m. to 9 a.m., I have to give that the maximum limitation that I can be able to do calls. I will not be doing calls next weekend because I will not be in town. The weekend after, in December, I will resume doing one-on-one calls after having been hit by these storms over the past month, the downtime. I will give you your dedicated one-on-one time that each and every one of you should rightfully request. Many of you have done it more than a dozen times, and you've seen the results of what's happened. So, quickly, looking back at last week, OPEX Friday, November 15th watch, which is when our full moon actually occurred. A couple of mistakes were made there last week. You know, even though, you know, we're talking about, everything looked as we had come to the top of the Trump gap going into the close on Thursday last week. We could go down 59.16, 58.95. Yeah, we could go down there. Sure, we could go down there. That would make sense to go down there. Over here on the SPX, you could see that was our gap from a week ago Thursday. I apologize, not the Trump gap. That was the gap from the week ago prior, after Donald Trump had already won, with Donald Trump's gap being down at 58.64. We had 4 red closes in a row over on the QQQ. Going back as many years as I could go back, you had never seen 5 red closes in a row more than once a year, and we hadn't had one all year long. And IWM on Friday loves to just rip to the upside. Fuck it, yeah, look, great drop. Let's buy some fucking calls. Same thing over here, talking about the VIX, because the VIX loves to get crushed on Fridays. Love to get crushed on Fridays, and we had a little gap up that was taking place prior to the open already. None of that happened. None. And as you know, as we placed our big bottom there last week, Friday at 58.53, this week has been a complete piece of shit. Coming down to that 58.60, 58.55, 58.53 every single day except yesterday, because yesterday was due to be extremely bullish as we have 4 green closes in a row over on the SPX. Why was it bullish? Because we had the nukes being announced there on Tuesday where we closed green. We had the British missiles that were used from the Ukraine to fire into Russia, which sent alarms off and dropping us down pre-market on Wednesday, and that was bullish. And then yesterday, just prior to the open, after Russia had already launched an intercontinental ballistic missile at Ukraine, which landed, the ICC announced that they had issued an arrest warrant for Benjamin, go fuck yourself, Netanyahu, and the market face fucking ripped off of it. However, be very well aware, we have not had a plus 1% day since Donald Trump was announced the winner back on November 6th. We have not had a plus 1% day, and we are now sitting here with today being day number 12. It is not in any way, shape, or form suggesting go and get long. All that it is doing is giving you an alarm that there is a plus 1% day that will be coming. And as we are heading into a very slow period next week, I would be very, very aware of that. Very, very aware of that. Over on the QQQ, again, QQQ as incredible as it looked yesterday with an amazing 9.4 point range, closed below the open. Ain't nothing great about that. Closed below the open. Still struggling with that 505, 503 area, and that's where we've been ping-ponging in. Today, minus 1%, as we have had minus 1% 2 days in a row over there, would be below 500 and would not be a good thing. And then we come over to the IWM, with the IWM having finally produced a green plus 1% day, having closed green every day this week, finally got a plus 1% day, having not had one since November 11th. Better part of a week plus not having a plus 1% day because of the slam down, which was taking place after visiting up there at 242. So I will bring you over first and foremost to where we're at, which is 59.2890, down 20 points over here on the S&P, and we are getting ready to go into the open. So that is not what you are looking at with the futures on there. We are looking over here at our basic bread and butters. Our basic bread and butters being over here, looking back from Friday last week and the sell down that took place down to 58.53, and this just absolute zigzag before this finally approach to the upside, reaching our 61.8 retracement at 59.54.55, tagging that 59.60 pivot point. Why is it a pivot point? Well, as I had zoomed out and tried to show, don't need that. I can go on to the 15-day. You've got your lows, your support over here from after Trump had won, after we gapped up a week ago Thursday. So this is going back to Friday on the November the 7th. Then you had your support over here on the move down on November 12th. Then you had your support here for the better part of the day over here on November 14th, before at the end of the day finally letting it go. That is the reason why 59.60 is a pivot. That is the reason why the 59.65, 59.60 calls, getting $2.50, close to $3 yesterday, ended the day worthless, full credit, and you got better than 100% on there. The 20-day has been abandoned. The 5-day will be moving up and the 10-day will be moving down. So we're going to have a cluster here right around this 59.45, 59.30 area, which is where your basic support was yesterday, right around 59.20. So I wouldn't go gangbusters expecting to see a move up into 59.70, 59.85. However, that has to be well understood that you do still have upside pivots which could be taken on. A little bit difficult to really go through on a Friday, but again, looking at the way that this has been structured here for the better part of the last 5 days, I'm still seeing this as an ABC. A, B, C with your ABC over here in the middle of it, another ABC on the way down to it, ABC up, ABC, ABC, with this being the C, and that 59.66 would be pretty picture perfect, but as of right now, we're still sticking with what we have there, which were the defaults, which were on the other chart that I shared. On a bullish point of view, I can't really share anything with you other than the fact that this is where we're sitting. So to not get confused, over the course of today, we look again at the week-to-date 5-day, and as long as you are holding above now where was resistance, which is this area here right around this 59.25, things should be okay. 59.06, things are a little bit questionable. Anything below 59.06 with that 58.72 working so perfectly, I would not be looking for anything to the downside. That's simply just because that's the way the video game works. I wouldn't be looking for anything to the downside aggressively. Looking at the QQQ, or at the VIX, sorry, at the VIX. Here we go next. VIX holding above 1622. That is not bullish. That is not bullish for the market. That is not bullish for the market. But here we are. We are holding, and we are now above 17, and we are still holding up in this 59.30 area, 5900 area on the S&P. Come over onto your wacky-dacky fucking QQQ, and as you can see here, this is completely out of control. You're getting massive moves to the downside, slow rebuys. Massive moves to the downside, big rebuy yesterday, which took all day long to get back up there, and you lost two of your big players yesterday. Yesterday, as your big players go, we will open this up. You lost Google. Google shit the bed. You lost Amazon. Amazon shit the bed. Over here on Microsoft, just grinding lower and lower and lower, well below the 150, 220, 10, 5-day moving averages. Meta can't get out of its own fucking way. Well below that 567 pivot. Apple not doing anything whatsoever. AMD not even worth discussing. And here you have your wacky-zacky NVIDIA, which has already reported earnings and is flat from earnings. So Netflix, 1,000. That's the only thing that we got going on over there. So again, failing that 505, which we're seeing here happen overnight, 502.55's got a hold, or we're looking at 500. That 503 pivot's been a little bit of a pain in the ass. 500 being your, hey, watch out. But as you can see down here very clearly, your 497 has been holding ridiculously strong for the better part of this week. IWM, again, IWM, 235.38, but and you know that's the way it goes. You know, you're sitting here back at your old March 2021 all-time highs, 235.38. That is not the all-time highs. The all-time highs are up at 244. But again, so I can't see how you can get too much out of that. Over here on DIA, I'd need to see above 442. 441.50, I would need to see above 441.50 in order to start saying, yeah, we got something going on here. Come over here and you look at your DIA move. Bang, bang, bang. Big, nice drop. Nice drop down into that 23. Has not filled the Trump gap. Has not filled the Trump gap. But that breakdown there below that 433 was a big alarm level. And now here we are retracing, which, you know what, let's do this just for shits and giggles. And so that some of you who are afraid to draw on your charts will start doing it. Let's look at the 10-day so that we can see where we're at. And If I can get this done right, properly, dink, bring it on to the 61.8, dink, 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 dink. These numbers are not accurate, but they're close enough. And there we are. We're right at the 61.8. I would bet we're right there at the 76.4, 74.6. A lot of guys like to use different ones. But yeah, that 441 to the upside, plausible. Wouldn't count on it, but very plausible. But yeah, having reached 61.8, don't know whether or not you can get too much more out of it. So there again, on NVIDIA, your fake print 148 paid, filling the calls into earnings. You had your big sell-off after earnings and your rebound to new all-time highs on Thursday, yesterday, because NVIDIA is NVIDIA. And then, bam, shake down right back down here into this area. And here we are going absolutely nowhere with NVIDIA because it's nothing but a big fucking scam. Target, like I said, Target has shit the bed, and Target breaking down below this 110 means it's the end of the world. Now, Ross reports earnings today. Ross. Do I know? No, that's not it. That is not it. Ross, I don't know the ticker for Ross. So, there it is, Roast. Ross Stores. Ross reports earnings today. I don't believe earnings are out yet. Earnings will be out later on, and again, looking at Ross from a big, broad, wide point of view, Ross is not half as bad as Target. Not even close to half as bad as Target. Ross looks a lot more like Walmart. Which brings me to end the call and the video on the Russell 2000. Russell 2000, that channel line, it's an old channel line, but like I said, I prefer using the IWM. IWM hitting that 235.38 yesterday. As you saw, you got a nice rejection off of that. Well above the 10-day, well above the 5 and the 20, very obviously, but your main source that you're looking at is at 23.51. You want to watch that 23.51 really closely. At 23.51, you broke up because of Trump and you dropped down right after Trump. So 23.51, you want to really keep your eyes on if you're going to be doing the Russell 2000, doing any kind of credit spreads over there. So that's what I got for you. I wish all of you the greatest of weekends, the most joyous of Fridays, an absolutely fantastic life that you spend over the course of the next few days until we meet again on Monday or Sunday night. And for those of you that were in the credit spread yesterday, all right? For those of you that were in the credit spread yesterday, this goes for both of you, men and women. I'm going to hide this 5-day moving average for now so that we can zoom in here over the course of this, call it 4 hours. And as we went in here into these last few minutes, and everybody was looking for that drop down below 59.54, down into 59.50. And this took the better part of, call it 5 minutes over here at the end. The next time your partner says you can't last longer than 5 minutes, yesterday you had the chance to experience how long 5 minutes actually takes. So enjoy yourselves. Have a good weekend.